Oh, see? Now read, so people know what we're talking about. Read Acts 4:27-20. Do you have it with you, or you want me to read it?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Yeah, read
For
it.
truly in the Acts 4:27, for truly in this city there were gathered together against your holy servant Jesus, whom you anointed, both Herod and Pontius Pilate, along with the Gentiles and the people of Israel, to do whatever your hand and your plan had predestined to take place.
Okay. Now, hand, whatever your hand and what?
Sorry, whatever your hand and your plan.
Plan. So hand means power, strength. The fact
Right.
is, this is a fact. According to Scripture, anything I do, good or bad, is because God is sustaining me. If God doesn't sustain me, I can't exist, right?
Right.
So God's hand means the very fact that you're able to, let's say, rebel against God and defy God is because God has given you that very breath which you're now using to attack him. Because if not, God could wipe you out. That's number one. Number two, when it says his plan, yes, it's his plan that his son dies. But does that mean God has to then create them in such a way where he compels them to do the very thing against Jesus? Because they're going to tell you, well, they were not forced to sin. They freely sinned. But they're making my point, because the Calvinists will tell you, God didn't make them kill Jesus. They did it naturally because of their fallen nature. They're actually then arguing my case. Why? Because what they're saying is predestination does not mean God forced them to sin by killing Christ, because they wanted to kill him, and what God was allow them to kill Christ. Well, that's not Calvinism. That's our position. What is our position? Without time, God knowing that if I send the Son at this time, in this period of history, and he shows himself to this group, that group will want to kill him. Therefore, since the Son dies in our place for our sin, the Son will come at that very time that God knows that these people will carry out their desires to kill him. That's all it's saying.
So you're saying that because God is omniscient, he knows and he willingly
Yes.
entered creation to die. He chose that specific time in order to
Yes.
fulfill his plan.
And you know how I know that? Because Galatians 4:4 says, in the fullness of time,
Wow.
God sent forth his Son,
Wow,
born of a
man.
woman, born under the law.
Okay.
So they'll even admit, see, because I know what they're going to say, wait, so are you saying God made them kill Jesus? Say, no. They killed him freely because they're acting on their sinful nature. Because even a Calvinist will tell you, sinners sin because they want to. God doesn't make them sin. But then if you ask them, could they have chosen not to do that sin? God didn't predestine it. They'll say, no, he had to do that sin, even though he did it freely. Okay, so this is where I catch them. So you're agreeing with me. God didn't force them to sin. They carried out the desires of their heart. Now, God could have stopped them, but instead he allowed them to. That's what it means by his hand. Because if he wanted, he could have stopped them. The fact he didn't stop them means that even in that evil act, he's still sustaining them, just like he sustains everything, right?
Right.
But they'll admit to you, if you ask them the right question, so did God make them kill Jesus? No. They killed him out of their own sinful heart. God doesn't need to make them sin, because sin comes naturally to them. So they naturally and freely wanted to kill Jesus, and God allowed them to do that. All right, say, okay, hold on. So you're admitting to me, God didn't have to make them kill Jesus for them to end up killing Jesus. No. All God had to do was remove his restraint and allow them to act on their desires. Yes, that's my position. My position is God knowing that if the Son was sent at this time, these people would hate him to the point of wanting to kill him. And since the Son came to die, he came at the time that he knew that this is what they want and allowed them to carry it out. But he didn't force them to do it. He didn't predestine them to do it in the sense that, I'm going to create them to want to kill my Son. And I'm going to create them that they'll want to desire to kill my Son, so that it will be something they desire and act. So I don't have to compel them to do it, because they're already created with that desire. And then all I need to do is let them act on that desire. But then if you ask them, well, what if they chose not to? Could they have chose not to do it? No. They were predestined. That's not my position. That's their position. You understand the difference? Let me repeat the difference. Okay. Our position says God, knowing that if the Son comes at this time, These group of individuals will hate him to the point that they'll want to kill him. Not that he created them to want to kill him and act upon it. He
Right.
knows
Right.
if he appears at this time, they'll want to kill him, and now I either can stop them from killing him or allow it,
Okay.
because they're in my hand, in my control. But since it's my plan for the son to die, therefore, this is the time he'll come, because these individuals will want to kill him, and all I need to do is allow them to kill him. That Jesus told Judas, you who have followed me, including Judas, you who have followed me will sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And Judas was one of the 12. This is in Matthew 19:28.
Right.
Was Jesus lying to Judas?
Jesus would never lie.
But he told the 12, and Judas was one of 12, you who followed me will sit on 12 thrones judging Israel. So what is Jesus telling Judas? That he wants him to betray him and go to hell? Or does he want Judas to follow him so he can reign with him?
It sounds like the latter. It sounds like he wants him to follow.
You better believe it. Here, let me show you the verse again.
I'm sorry I'm making you go through this again.
No, it's okay. Okay. I know these because I was a Calvinist. When you take off the Calvinist lenses, then what you're seeing is not God creating people to commit the sin that he wants them to commit, but God knowing that if he creates this person, he's going to want to commit the sin, and he allows him to do it. See the difference? Calvinism says God created you to commit the sin he wants you to commit. This position, no, God knows that if he created you, you're going to want to do this sin. And then he can either allow you to do it or prevent you.
Okay.
Okay, now watch. Look at the promise. Matthew 19:28. Jesus said to them, truly I say to you, in the new world, when the Son of Man shall sit on his glorious throne, it's new heaven, new earth, you have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. The only 12 apostles included Judas at this time. But notice what Jesus says, in the new heaven, new earth, where I reign on my throne, you who follow me will reign with me on 12 thrones, judging Israel. So does Jesus really want Judas to live and reign with him in the new heaven, new earth?
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
But according to your Calvinist buddy, no. He already created him to betray Christ so he can go to hell.
Right.
But then we have a conflict. Either God is lying or God is schizophrenic, he has two wills, because that's what some Calvinists will say. God has two wills, what he decrees and what he desires. So though Jesus desired Judas to reign with him, he had determined that he would betray him and go to hell. This is Calvinism for you. Okay, now watch another promise. Look what Jesus says. And Judas is one of them. He's there. They're all there. The 12 and the 70. All the disciples are present. As the 70 come back, talking about how they cast out demons. Now watch this. Luke 10:17-20. Luke 10:17-20. Watch here. You ready? The 70, now the 12 are with Jesus. So they're there. They're listening. The 70 returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. And he said to them, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Behold, I have given you authority. Now, is he talking to some or all of them?
All of them.
And in Matthew 10, verses 1-8, when Jesus sent out the 12, Judas being one of them, he gave Judas the power to cast out demons and raise the dead. In Matthew 10, verses 1-8. And I'll show it to you. But okay. Here, he's on all of them. I've given you all, right here with me. Judas is there. Authority, right? To tread upon serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. And nothing shall hurt you. Nevertheless, do not rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you. Some of you or all of you standing there. Did he qualify by saying some?
No.
All of them, right?
All of them.
But rejoice that your names are written in heaven. Judas's name is written in heaven?
How?
What do you mean how? He says it. Be happy that all of you, your names are written in heaven.
Okay, but isn't he a terrible, didn't he commit one of the worst sins ever?
But you still don't get it. That shows that God's desire was, Judas, I want you to live. That's why I've written your name in heaven. But now that you betrayed me, I'm going to blot your name out.
Oh.
That's what Jesus says. Whoever endures to the end, his name I will not blot out. Revelation 3:5. So what if you don't endure?
Then the name is taken away.
Right there. So Judas, your name is there. So what does this show you about God's desire for Judas?
That God desires Judas to actually be with the 12 in heaven.
Yeah. You got it. Now, final
Okay.
one. Let me prove to you that Jesus even died for Judas. Are you ready?
Okay.
Here. Now, watch this. Pay attention. Because he doesn't qualify. It doesn't say some of you, most of you, but not all of you. And he took bread, Luke 22, 19 to 23. And when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And likewise, this cup after supper, likewise the cup after supper, saying, "This cup which is poured out for you is the new covenant in my blood." Now, did he say some of you, most of you, or all of you right here?
All of them right there, clearly.
Oh, wait, he just said, "I'm breaking my body and shedding my blood for you." But now notice who's there. "Behold, the hand of him who betrays me is with me on the table." So Judas is there. So Judas just heard Jesus saying, "This bread is my body broken for you. You too, Judas. This cup is my blood shed for you. You too, Judas. But look, even though I'm going to die for Judas, he's still going to betray me." Look at the travesty and the betrayal, that I love him to the point to die for him, to save him. And how does he respond? Betraying me. Now, here's where they're going to try to get you, but here's where I'm going to bury them. "For the Son of Man goes as it has been determined." See, predestined. "But woe to that man by whom he is betrayed." And they began to question one another which of them it was that would do this. Again, does it mean that because Christ was determined to be betrayed, that means God also created Judas to make him betray? Or does it mean that God knew that if Jesus comes at that time, one of his disciples would betray him in order to bring about Jesus' death?
One of his disciples would betray him in order to bring about Jesus' death.
Because it's predestined for Christ to die. But that doesn't mean that the actors involved were created to carry out those sins. Otherwise, right, they would have no choice to the contrary, because it was predestined. That's not, if you read the Bible and as a whole, God predestines based on foreknowledge. Without time, God knows at this time, at this place, all of these individuals, they will harbor these feelings towards Jesus. And one of his disciples will betray him. And this actually shows you how majestic God is. That he's so infinitely wise and brilliant, he even knows the perfect time where all of things will come together to bring about Christ's death without having to create them and make them do it.
Yeah, glory to
Are you
God.
with me there?
Yeah.
It's not that Judas was created to betray Christ and he had no choice. It's that God knew that if the Lord went at that time, one of those who'd follow would be Judas, and Judas would be so full of the devil that he'd betray him, and then the others to whom he betrays him would want to kill him. So it's all going to work out that this is the perfect time for my son to die for your sin.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is cleared up in God determining things based on his omniscience, his foreknowledge of time. That clears up so many of those issues that I guess you're faced with when kind of bringing Calvinism to its necessary.
That's where you get blinded. In fact, here, let me prove to you that the word foreknowledge is used with predestination, so that it's foreknowledge and predestination. Acts 2:23. That's also about Jesus being betrayed, because I thought they were going to do that to you.
Would you like me to read this?
Yeah, if you can read out loud for me.
"This Jesus, delivered up according to the definite plan and foreknowledge of God, you crucified."
So how did God plan? Based
through
on
foreknowledge.
What? Reread it again so people can see.
This Jesus, delivered up according to the definite plan and foreknowledge of God.
So his plan was based on what?
The foreknowledge.
Foreknowledge is not foreordaining. Don't let them lie to you.
Okay. Yeah.
So he planned and determined based on what?
Foreknowledge.
There you go. That's why I'm no longer a Calvinist.